Hi Shimmy Shaker, we're really going to slow down and take our time today to learn horizontal figure eights. So if you've never heard of this move before and want to do it, this video is for you. If you have been trying to master this move but haven't quite been able to get it, this video is also great. And if you are more experienced and ready to take your figure eights into variations and layers, then this is a great way to make sure you have your technique perfect before you do that. Let's get straight into it. First of all, as always, you know what I'm going to say, we start with good posture. This is so important. Starting with our feet hip width apart, pelvis tucked in, chest up. It's important to have our feet parallel facing forward for this move. Also, it's important to have our feet hip width apart. As you go into bigger ballady styles, you might like to have your feet wider. That's just something you can think about for the future. But for now, for the basics, we're keeping our feet parallel, hip width apart, and we're lifting up through the chest so we can really isolate our hips from our upper body. Now, our horizontal figure eight is a combination of two very basic moves that I know you will be able to do. The first one is a hip slide. So we're bringing our hips to one side, bringing our hips to the other side. Our knees stay nice and relaxed. We're just focusing on our hips. One side, then the other. Beautiful. I'll show you from the side. You can use the tie my shimmy scarf as a reference if it helps. Or you can use the tie on your own shimmy scarf if you have a mirror. That might help as well. So nice and relaxed through this move. If you're finding this move a little difficult, might be because you're very tight through your back. Nice way to loosen up is just to lean over to one side. This will help our mobility in this move as well. By that I mean be able to move a little bit bigger. So you're feeling a little stretch here. Just going as low as you need to feel the stretch. You never want to force anything. And then coming up, let's even it out over to the other side, feeling it through here. Good. And gently coming up, just see how that feels. Hopefully it's a little bit more relaxed. And if it's feeling good, you can really push that hip out to one side and then the other. Beautiful. This is a lovely move in itself. My feet are flat on the floor, my knees are relaxed. Just changing my weight from one side to the other. If you like, you can close your eyes, feel the difference as your weight shifts. Feel the difference in your feet. You might feel it move more to one side than the other. Beautiful. And shake it out. Okay, the second move that is really good to know before we come into our figure eights is your hip twist. So this one, again, starting with our good posture, we bring one hip to the front, other hip to the front. So of course, both of our hips are connected, but when I'm doing it, I'm thinking of this hip as I bring it forward. This hip, as I bring it forward, naturally the other one will come back. Just nice and relaxed, that's it. Now, very important for this one, make sure you're standing up nice and tall. If you're leaning back, it can feel very uncomfortable on your lower back, especially in this move when you're coming into your twists, and especially when you do your horizontal figure eights in full. You can see I'm nice and relaxed here. If you're finding it's very hard to get the movement, especially if you sit at a desk a lot or bike ride a lot, you might be very tight through here. So some simple things to do to release it. You can lean all the way forward, just come into a really nice stretch. We often do this in our warm-up to loosen up through our muscles, but also helps us to move a little bigger in some of those moves. Other side, evening it out. Just notice if one side feels a little tighter than the other two. And then you can have your knees nice and bent, just rolling all the way forward, as always, being gentle with your body. Feeling it through your lower back. Coming to one side, feeling it through the side of your lower back. And gently changing sides. And back to center, very slowly rolling up. You might also find that you're a little tight through your hips. If this is the case, you can hold onto a wall or a bar. Bring your leg over and sinking down, and then just gently pushing your knee down. If this is a bit uncomfortable for you standing, you can do it sitting instead. You can do it sitting on a chair or on the floor. Bring one leg over, gently pushing that knee down, feeling it through here. Good. Often people look at belly dancing and think, no flexibility is involved, and even though it's not traditional to do the splits on stage, I mean, I'm not saying no one does it, a lot of people do it. Changing sides, gently pushing the knee down, does require a lot of flexibility through the hips and back. So if you're finding it difficult in this way, look forward to feeling really good as you loosen up with this dance style. And when you're ready, gently coming up. So that was just a little mini stretch, but let's see how it feels now through our hips. Yes, nice work. As you feel more comfortable with it, you can add a little bit more of a stretch through as you twist. Still standing up nice and tall, still keeping those feet planted on the floor. Again, you can feel your weight shift across different parts of your foot as you come forward and back with those hips. And shake it out, nice work. Okay, now that we have our slides and our twists, we're going to bring them into our horizontal figure eights. This is such a beautiful move and one of our key moves in belly dancing, so very important for us to get it right. If you have any questions at any time throughout this tutorial, please ask them below, because you really don't want to be building bad habits when you first start this move. So feet hip width apart again. We're going to push our hip to the front corner. So as we push, it's like a little twist with this hip, but then we're doing a slide on top of the twist to get it to the front corner. This is point number one. We're then bringing that hip to the back corner. So we're keeping that twist. We're bringing it all the way to the back so that the twist comes to the other side. Then this hip comes to the front corner, to the back corner, and that's our figure eight. So if you think about a figure eight shape, we're tilting it on its side and then doing it as we look down. So it's like a figure eight from this angle. That's the shape that we're making with our hips. So hold your hands up now if it helps. Looking down, think about that kind of shape for our hips. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 as our points. Let's try and catch it. So twist and push out. That's it. Keep that push out as we twist back. Good. Keep that twist as we push forward. Beautiful. Keep that push out as we twist back. That's it. Pushing out, twisting back, pushing forward, twisting back. That's it. Pushing out, twisting back, pushing forward, twisting back. Let me show you from the back, just so you can follow my hips. So we'll start with this corner. Twist and push to the back, twist and push to the back, twist and push to the back, twist and push to the back. You can see my knees are nice and relaxed. You can feel in your own feet the difference as you come around. You might feel it more in your front foot, front of this foot as you push your hip forward. As you push your hip back, you might feel it more on the side of the foot towards the back, and then more to the front foot here, more to the side as you come around. And then if we've got our 4 dots, let's try and join them up. So we're pushing, join to the next dot, joining to the next dot. So it's like we're slurring the move, nice and relaxed. Beautiful. If it helps, you can close your eyes, feel the weight shift in your feet, making sure you're standing up nice and tall. And if you like, you can really feel that stretch as you push around. Beautiful. Keep going. That's it. Lovely. Nice. Okay, now that you've got the move, if you like, you can try and keep your chest nice and strong to the center. So as we come around, this is where our good posture comes in. If you're leaning over like this, it's very hard to become isolated. If we're standing up nice and tall, separating our chest from our hips and then releasing through. Beautiful. I know it's a lot of concentration to do all these moves. Still think about that figure 8 shape through your hips. Knees nice and relaxed. Well done. And shake it out. Lovely. Okay, here are some of the most common problems I see when people are first learning their horizontal figure 8s. Number 1 is that people don't catch all 4 of those spots. So remember, we've got the front corner, back corner, front corner, back corner, and we want to try and get each one of those. Very common, I see people just coming to the side and then back and then side and then back. So if I'm doing it this way, you can see my hips, figure 8 isn't as big, whereas you want to come all the way around, all the way forward and around, all the way forward and around. The other common problem I see is people missing pushing it all the way out to the side. So they might come twisting and then twisting and then twisting and twisting, but this is more like our twist. Remember, you want to add that slide into it as well to really get that beautiful full movement. Lovely. Next common problem I see, which is not good because it's not good for our body, is leaning back. So remember, with any of your belly dancing moves, you don't want to be leaning back unless you're doing a back bend and you've learned how to do it properly. Everything else, you should be standing up nice and tall. Otherwise, it's a lot of pressure on your back. If you're coming into your hip figure 8s like this, yeah, it's not going to feel good and it's not going to be good for you. It's also going to be very hard to move. So try and keep that posture up nice and tall. Hips stay underneath you. So we're not bringing the hips here or here. The hips stay underneath. If you're finding it's a little bit tricky to keep your body in line and you're leaning too far forward or too far back, don't worry, it might just be something about the mobility of your body, and over time it will build. So you can do the stretches again that we did before, and that will really help you as well. Okay, the next most common problem I see is people's posture in terms of their feet. So if you have your feet very close together, it's going to be very hard to move your hips in this way. It requires a lot more core work, and yeah, it's just not as natural. So if you have your feet hip width apart, just check if you're doing any of these things. Let's try and fix them now while we're learning the move so we can have our basics perfect from the start. As I said, you can bring your hips a little wider if you're coming into a more ballady style. Now, have a look at the difference between my hips when my feet are hip width apart. So that's hip width apart. And then see how my hips look when I'm coming out wider. Can you see the difference? Let me know in the comments. What do you think's changed? I'll give you a little tip. When our feet are wider, with almost every hip move, our move becomes bigger. So if you do want to make your move a little bit bigger, very easy, instead of pushing all the way out, you can just bring your hips and feet a little wider. Yeah, nice. Saying that, you don't want to be so wide that you can't bring your hips around. That's it. So start hip width apart. Good. Make sure your feet aren't too narrow. That makes it a little trickier. Less relaxed. Yes, that's it. Beautiful. Okay, the next most common problem I see when people are learning their horizontal figure 8s is that they're changing the level of their hips and their feet. Sometimes we might change the level of our hips and feet as we become more advanced in this move, but as always, when you're learning your basics, you want to learn the basic version before you differentiate. Otherwise, you're going to be learning the differentiated version and it's going to be harder to come back to the basics and learn other variations. What do I mean by this so you can know if you're doing it? So you can look at your hips. If you're in front of a mirror, that can help. And I'm trying to keep my hips in a horizontal plane. So I'm moving this way across. I'm not moving up or down at all. So have a look at your shimmy scarf or just your hips. You can have your hands on your hips if you're not wearing a shimmy scarf. And make sure your hips are staying level. So this is nice and level. This is what I often see people doing. So what am I doing here? I am lifting my feet and I'm using my knees and my feet instead of just relaxing into it. Our horizontal figure eights for the basic version are very grounded. So your feet are flat on the floor the whole time to get that horizontal line. Again, if you feel you're compensating by lifting a heel or lifting through your core, you might like to do our little stretches again. And then try and keep those hips as level as you can. Yes, beautiful. Also, we are going to learn some vertical figure eights soon too. So it's very important that we have distinct difference between our horizontal ones like this and our vertical ones. That's it. Nice work. So the final common problem I see with horizontal figure eights is people being uneven side to side. So this is very common because obviously our bodies do different things every day, and because of that we might be stronger on one side, we might be looser on one side. But it's nice to build up over time to be able to get both sides even. So just check in the mirror again, see if you're twisting all the way forward, seeing if you're sliding all the way out. And then try and make it as even as possible. If you feel limited on one side, you can just ease into it a little bit more, or you can hold back on the other side. Yes, that's it. Okay, so now that we have our horizontal figure eights, we have them nice and smooth, we're standing up tall, we're keeping our hips level, we're keeping our hips even. Next thing to do is think about that smoothness as one slurred move. So as always, when we're coming into our flow, we don't want our audience to know where the move starts, where it stops. So see if you can really make it as smooth as you can. Especially if you're doing this for the first time, you might find you jolt in certain places. It might just be that you're a little tight in those spots, so you can really floss it out through this movement. And then just focus on your upper body. See if you can keep your upper body facing the front, really isolating through those hips. Good. Beautiful. My knees are nice and soft. And then, if you like, as we come around, as we pull back, you can squeeze your glutes on this side. So we push and then little squeeze through. Push, squeeze through. And then start to squeeze one side as we come around, really bring those muscles into it. Again, you can see where you feel it. You might feel it in your core a little bit as well. Feel like a nice little stretch and massage as you focus on those muscles. Lovely. And shake it out. A beautiful job, Shimmy Shaker. I hope this has helped you with your horizontal figure eights. If you want to practice them more, please check out this workout right here. We do lots of different figure eight variations. It's lots of fun as well. And if you are ready to learn a different type of figure eight, please check out this video right here where I'm going to teach you how to do your vertical figure eights, which are another essential move in belly dance. Remember to write your comments and questions below so that everyone can benefit from them. If anything's unclear, always let me know. Happy dancing, and I'll see you soon.